Welcome to the You Matter series. We've done this 2025, which is the third module, like I said. The first one we had off was all about your internal issues in life, why we don't actually commit to our New Year's resolutions, our goals in life, right? Why are we not fulfilling those? Why are we not committed to those? That's how we started the whole series off, because it deals with you, within your mind, always with you, ends with you, begins with you. I always heard this saying, don't be mad at the result you didn't get by the work you didn't do. Everybody gets pissed off in the year why you didn't reach your goals, but did you actually look at the work you did for it? Probably the match was not matching. So here we are. We're here to fix that. Then the next month we had Shireen, who rocked it out with a $100 million business. Amazing story with her journey. Who everybody thinks they see her right now and just want her life right now, but you know what? You had to work your ass off to get where she's at today. And she still works every day, 24/7. She never quits. So which means you have to be relentless and keep going. And it's not easy. It's hard. This month we have the amazing Nonaka, who, again, from the big island of Hawaii, born and raised, comes from a coal baker family. He'll tell his story. Definitely not somebody we'd think would come to EXP, but he did, and then all of a sudden started to build something from scratch. 2 people, 3 people. Now he has over 100 and something. I don't even know exactly, but
40.
Yeah.
40.
Over 800 deals last year. Built a $100 million business. But the thing about it, he's very methodical. He's military background, so you guys don't know what that means. Up before the crack of dawn, not done until he's finished his job. Not when the day's up, it's when he's done finishing his job. Very systematic, very tactical, very system-oriented, but he has an entire playbook that he's gonna lay out for you guys today to get your business to $100 million. And I don't care right now if you're sitting there and saying, I don't wanna do $100 million. That's fine, don't. You don't. But I tell you one thing, you want the money that comes from a $100 million business. Can I get an amen? Yeah, that's right. Say it again, amen. Because we all want the money from $100 million. We just don't wanna do the work, if we're being totally honest. I surely don't. But how do we stop trading time for money? Systems and leverage, and this is the man who's built all of it out. So if you pay attention today, take some notes. I promise you, you'll walk away today, whether you want to double your business from last year. If you did 2 million, do 4. If you did 6, do 12. If you did 50, you want to do 100. Whatever it is, it's all scalable. All the same principles and disciplines match. It's just the behavior. It's how you show up. So it's scalable. He'll show you today. We're excited to have him, Nonaka from the Big Island. Welcome, sirs. Give it up for Dylan.
What's up? Is my mic on? All right. I didn't want to come out with the earpiece thing because it looked like me and Chris are going to do like a boy band dance or something like that, sing you guys a song or something, right? So I'm using the regular mic. All right, what's up, guys? We're going to get right into this. I got 46 slides to get through, all right? And I talk super fast. So if there's something that you want me to dig into or you want to challenge something or you need more information, just raise your hand. I'd rather have a discussion and focus in on the stuff that you guys want to talk about. So the first thing is, why it's important to be in this room. And I may say some stuff today that offends you, and that's probably because it's true, right? So if you get your feelings hurt, really reflect on that in the mirror. But this is something that's super important to me is I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for events like this, right? So I feel a responsibility to do these things and to give back because Chris changed my life. He invited me to an event in 2019 when I just had come to EXP. And in my world of real estate, I thought the epitome of real estate success was doing like 30 deals a year and 15 or 20 million. Like that's what the top elite producers were doing in my market. And that's where I wanted to be. And then I went to this event, something similar to this, and I saw dudes on stage selling 300, 400, 500 homes. And I'm like, damn, I didn't even know that was a thing. And I realized at that moment, these guys weren't any smarter than I was. And I was like, if they can do it, I can do it. I just got to figure out what they're doing. And luckily, due to this culture and the way we operate, they've shared the playbook with me. I mean, they showed me what their onboarding looked like and what their lead systems look like, and I just rip off and duplicate it. I'll talk about a lot of that today, but there is no need for innovation in this business. The stuff that works, and you just gotta find the people who can help you figure it out and have already figured it out and give you the playbook, right? And that's basically what we're gonna do today. And what's crazy about this, right, is I got text messages right before this from people saying, oh, sorry, I was gonna come to your event, but something came up and I gotta go do it, or I gotta go do a showing or whatever. That's so insane to me that you would miss this to go show a house to potentially make 1 sale. Like that is the stupidest business decision you can ever make. Like seriously, and y'all do that. You make really poor decisions with your time when you could be doing something that's super valuable to the life of your business going forward for 10 years versus 1 single thing that you would do today. I gotta go attend a home inspection. Like really? Go send somebody else. Go pay somebody $100 to go do that or do it tomorrow. Like that is not something that is worth missing something like this for, right? And I always evaluate that when how I spend my time is like, is this a very good use of my time? Is there something better I could be doing? And that's important to scale, like what Chris talked about. We're gonna talk a lot about the principles to scale, and that's a foundational aspect of it is how you spend your time. So I'm not gonna really talk through this. This is my story. I was born and raised on a big island. I went into the Marines after high school. I went to UH Hilo. I worked in politics for like 10 years, and then I came to real estate in 2015. So almost 10 years now. And then I moved in December of 18 to EXP. And then in 2019, we started the agency team. It was my brother and like 3 friends that came from a different brokerage that came over here, took a chance on a company we had never heard of before. There was like nobody on the big island. But it seemed like it made sense. It seemed like the business model made sense. And so a lot of people that are in our shoes today like came with a brokerage, they came with a mega team. Like we started from 0 in 2019, and I'll run you through what that looked like. So here's one principle. This is a great book. Has anybody read 10X is easier than 2X? So the principle here is, I'll give you the whole book in 10 seconds, is there's 25 things plus you could do to take your business from 5 to 10 million or 10 to 20 million, right? To double your business. There's only a couple of things you can do to 10X your business. And that's what you want to focus in on. And I boil it down to 3 things, and we're going to talk about that today if you really want to 10X, because I believe 10Xing is easier than 2Xing, and I'll show you what that looks like. But you got to find out what are those few things that you can do, because if not, you're going to chase every shiny object, every lead source, every new piece of software and all this kind of crazy stuff, and then you're gonna end up where you were when you started, right? So focus in on what are those things that are actually high ROI. So since we've been here, this is what the growth has looked like. We did 43 million in 2019, we did 57 million in 2020, we did 135 in 2021, 197 million in 22, 668 million in 23, and then 421 million in 2024. So this is 10X, right? From 2019 to 2024, we went from 43 million to 421 million. So, and I can tell you, it was easier going from 43 to 400 than it was going from 10 to 40. So I'll show you what that looks like. But that has all led to, we're the #1 team in Hawaii for all brokerages, according to Realtor. They're the national ranking system that ranks teams and individual agents. So it's wild. I mean, the ride has been absolutely nuts. And we made a ton of mistakes and screwed a bunch of stuff up, and I'm gonna tell you all about it today. So, and then I'll wrap up with this later, but we ended the year as the #4 team nationally in EXP, which is wild. If you look at the caliber of people that are out there, these are against people who are in Dallas and LA and San Francisco. I mean, huge markets, and we're a tiny market in terms of number of transactions compared to all of these places. We should probably close that window, Chris. We should probably close that window because the AC's on, huh? All right, so here's a foundational principle, and a lot of this are like concepts. If you can wrap your head around concepts, it's helpful. But what opportunity level are you in? This is something to ask yourself in your business, right? This is a saying that I love. Our friend Jay Kinder, who's one of the big dogs here, says the worst thing you can do in business is be a level 10 player in a level 5 opportunity. And most level 10 players don't even know they're in a level 5 opportunity because they don't have the humility and open-mindedness to go look around and see if there's a better way to do something. And so you see this in sports all the time, right? You see LeBron go from like a crappy team to a good team and bring in level 10, 8, 9, and 10 players to win a championship. This happens all the time, but we don't do this in business. We kind of stay in our level 5 opportunity, especially if you're successful. The worst thing you can be is successful in a level 5 opportunity because it feels good to be the top producer and the big dog in your little company, right? And you're the man because you're like getting the awards every month for being the top producer, and you're feeding your ego when you're really giving up the opportunity to grow far beyond where you currently are. But you just gotta be open to a level 5 or level 10 opportunity. And this is what a level 10 opportunity looks like, guys. This is a graph this is sales volume on this side and units on that side. These were my years at Coldwell Banker, you guys. I was a pretty mediocre real estate agent at Coldwell Banker. But I believe I was a level 10 player. I was just in the wrong opportunity at the time. And you can see what happened afterwards, and it's been exponential growth since getting into a level 10 opportunity. So it's something to really think about is, hey, if you love where you're at and you love your brand and you love your broker, that's all great. But if you love the opportunity to grow even more, you gotta make a decision and making a change. And I'm super blessed that I stumbled upon this opportunity, because I would probably be still down here like in the sub 50 range if I had stayed where I was, because it wasn't me that was the issue, is the opportunity that I was in. So 3 pillars to building a $100 million business. And it can be 50 million, it can be 200 million. I think these are the 3 things in real estate, you guys, in real estate. This is specifically for real estate that you gotta have. You gotta have a foundation, you have to have systems, and you have to have leads. And we're gonna dig deep into all three of these topics, but at the end of the day, there's 25 things you can focus on to double your business. I think these are the only three that you need to do to really 10x your business, okay? So pillar one, the foundation. And I'm gonna give you guys a QR code at the end. You'll get all the slides, so you don't have to furiously write and try and transcribe how fast I talk. So setting the foundation. This is something that I think a lot of people just don't do, is like really evaluate what is the foundation of your business. Do you have a culture code? Like we started with a culture code when I was just my brother and my mom and a couple of friends. I wanted to have a foundational understanding of how we were gonna treat each other and how we were gonna do business and how we would treat our clients, and we wrote it down. If you look at the agencyteam.info, it's at the bottom of the page. That's our team resources website. If you wanna read what they are, there's 12 principles there. You gotta have a mission, right? What is your mission? This is our mission. It's to provide every client should feel like they are the only ones that we're working for, treat clients like we treat our family, provide them with an unforgettable positive experience that turns them into raving fans. So what is your mission? Like what is your mission in life? And boil it down and make it simple, but write it down and have one, right? And it can change over time, but make it clear. And then your value proposition. Have you figured that out? We talk about that a lot in today's world, like at the buyer's rep agreement discussion, like what is your value proposition as a buyer's agent? What is your value proposition as a seller's agent? And I just feel like most agents don't take the time to actually figure this out. Like they have some esoteric idea and they can kind of talk about it a little bit, but they're not clear on this. They don't really believe it and they don't have anywhere to demonstrate it. So these are things you gotta spend the time, think about these things, write them down, pen the paper and publish them. So you know what they are, and then when people are joining your organization, they know what they are, right? So it's clear and you can pass that culture on to other folks. So this is our value proposition from where we are today. This is developed over time. My very first value proposition was no pressure, high tech, 100% local. That was my tagline, right? If you wanted a realtor that would give you no pressure, that used technology and was local, I was your guy. That was my value proposition. Very simple in 2015 when I didn't know what the hell I was doing, right? This has grown and morphed over time. And now that we're a statewide organization, we can show you property anywhere in the state in 4 hours, right? So when a buyer comes to me and they're interviewing one of our agents versus an agent at Century 21, and that guy maybe not be available on the weekends or after school when his kids get picked up, I can tell them, no worries, we'll take care of you within 4 hours anywhere in the whole entire state, we can make that happen. That's a value proposition that nobody else has, right? And so we focus heavily on that, and our brand new agents can use that in their discussions with the buyer or a seller in demonstrating what their value is. We have experts in every single area of real estate. There's 140 agents on the team. If you want an expert in absolutely anything, we have one. So if your agent doesn't have the expertise that you need, we're gonna be able to hook you up with somebody who does and take care of your needs and your questions. We have the ability to service you no matter what. So if your agent's not available on the weekend, we have somebody who will fill in. That's a culture on the team, is we all help each other and do that and provide that level of service. And then we have 140 agents working on your behalf. If we put a new listing on the market, the first day it goes on the market, we have 25, young, good-looking real estate agents come and make a ton of social media content and get your stuff all over the place. And like sellers love that because it's not an individual agent working for them. It's a whole crew of folks that is out there marketing your stuff, sending it out onto their social media, on their sphere of influences, their email lists, all that stuff. So what is your value proposition? Think about this. And then as you grow and you start to, you need to scale with people at some point, right? So you have to have a value proposition to people. And a lot of times people have I think whose biggest challenge to like building your team is like finding people to join your team. Does anyone have that problem? Do you have a value proposition? What is your value proposition as a team? And ours is pretty simple, right? I believe there's zero figure it out. If you join us, I have everything you possibly could need to be successful in a very short amount of time, and I'll show you proof of concept of that. There's unmatched collaboration. I mean, we have 6 to 8 hours of meetings and training a week with other experts that can help you grow. And so there's unmatched collaboration if you're a real estate agent and you want to not have to figure it out yourself and want to work together with other people. And really all you got to bring is a work ethic. This is the only thing I cannot provide people is work ethic. So if you bring the work ethic, we got everything else figured out. And it makes it very simple from a real estate agent standpoint that when they're overwhelmed and they're unsure and they're getting all this different, stuff from different people, we just boil it down and make it simple for folks. All right, and then culture. So this is all part of foundation, right? But at the end of the day, culture is an overused word, but like, do you really have a culture in your business? And for us, We believe that treating our business partners and clients like family is just foundational. It started off as a family business, my brother and I, and it's kind of a joke, but I tell people, like, the end of my buyer presentation is you will have a nephew for life. So if you buy with me, and 2 years from now you got to move a heavy couch, my brother and I will show up and we'll move your heavy couch, right? I mean, so like, you'll have a friend for life, you'll have a nephew for life. And we've adopted plenty of people throughout the years that now are our family, and we embody that, right? That's our culture, that's what we believe, and people that are drawn to that will come to you because that appeals to them. The pay it forward mentality. This is huge on our team, where everybody who came before you was helped by somebody before them, and so now there's this unwritten, code that if you're a new agent, you can come into the office, or you can reach out to somebody that you see on the meeting and ask them, hey, how do you do this? And they will take the time and help you. And it's just that pay it forward mentality. Like, because you were helped before, that you have the responsibility to help the person after you. And I wish I could say I take credit for this. It just kind of developed. My brother is a huge example of this. He's the most giving, caring, nurturing person. And he did that for so many agents, that agents just feel like they have to do that with the next generation of agents. And that's been a huge value add, that we never said, hey, this is a rule, right? It just happens because you build culture. That's how you operate, and it just brings on a life of its own. And then at the end of the day, this is maybe the biggest differentiating thing with us and a lot of organizations, is like the abundance mindset. Like, I don't believe this is a scarce market. I believe there's enough business in this market for all of us to succeed at a super high level. I don't believe in anything being proprietary. You guys can, I'm gonna give you everything that I possibly know. All of our team meetings are open to the public. All of our trainings open to the public. All of our resources are open to the public. Like, I don't believe because I have something valuable and I give it to you that I lose, right? And if you win a listing contract, I don't believe that I lose. So if you can operate this way, it attracts the right people, right? And most agents, the real estate market is so absolutely scarcity mindset that it's a horrible place to be. I hated it. I hated the scarcity mindset that I used to live in, because I just didn't understand it. Like, it didn't make sense to me. It wasn't who I was. And if you can embrace this and truly embody it, like, people will come flocking to you. And that's really, at the end of the day, anybody who's on a team here understands that that's our mindset. And it makes life a lot easier to live this way than to be suspicious of everybody, and everybody's trying to rip me off, and everybody's trying to take advantage of me, all the stuff that goes to your head because we're like cavemen, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that's like our natural reaction. So it's got to be something that's practiced. You have to be intentional about it. We start every meeting with wins and gratitudes. We have a 5 a.m. call every morning that whoever wants to get on and do a 5 a.m. call, we spend 5 minutes talking about positivity, wins, gratitudes, something that you're grateful for. So it's an intentional thing you can't just say it, like, you actually got to practice it every single day. So abundance mindset is huge. All right, so I think at the end of all of this, to wrap up the foundation, you just got to be clear on who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. That's it. Like, do you have clarity in that? And it's not something that's set in stone forever. It can develop over time, but spend the time, like, giving it some deep thought. Spend the weekend alone and really think about, be clear on who you are and why you're doing what you're doing, and write it down, right? Have it on paper, write it down.